Hello! Welcome to this week's video. For this week, I'm going to be doing my book haul for the month of February. Excuse me, January. What is time? Plus, I'm a little wonkied on cold medication because your girl has a cold today. It's not the COVID, it is just a cold. So yeah, my voice is a little wonky. Got my water, and because I'm going to be doing a lot of talking as we check out the books that I have to show off. And I shall be reading the back blurbs for you. So hopefully we'll be taking some books from there, and or books from there, that pile that's sort of off screen right now, and moving them up to there, and hopefully like making my way, and then moving them to the TBR, which I'm thinking of doing a actual sort of little tour of my TBR, sort of just like as it sort of like, I think I can safely say my TBR for this year. And I think I might do that because I remember a year or two ago I would do a tour of my keeper shelf, and I would do that sort of in parts. But yeah, maybe I'll do a vlog for the TBR shelf there and sort of show that off to you guys. But for now, we're going to be doing a book haul for the month of January. So, we will start with The Fall of Lord Drayson, and it is a historical romance, and by Rachel Anderson. And initially I really liked this cover, but looking at it again, the heroine, she looks kind of young. I mean, like, she looks like she's like 14, which historical romance, but yeah, so let's read the back blurb for that one. When Colin Cavendish, the new Earl of Drayson, informs Lucy Beresford that she and her mother need to vacate the house they've called home for the past 2 years, Lucy is fit to be tied. They have no money, no relations they can turn to for help, and nowhere to go. How dare the Earl break the promise his father had made to the Beresfords without so much as a twinge of conscience? Fate plays her hand when Lucy discovers the Earl unconscious and injured in the middle of the road. When he awakens with no recollection of who he is, Lucy seizes the opportunity to teach the Earl a much-needed lesson in humility and tells him that he is nothing more than a mere servant, her servant. And thus begins the charming tale of a pompous lord and an impetuous young woman caught together in a web so tangled that it begs the question, will they ever get out? So I remember I read, I think it was an Anne Gracie, or it was, I read another historical this past year. Let me stack them a little. I read another historical this past year that was where the girl loses the memory and the guy decides to teach her a lesson, and oh, my hair, goodness gracious, and yeah, it I really enjoyed that one, so it'd be nice to sort of turn the tables and see the other way. So let's move on to the next one. The Paris Library by Janet Skeslien Charles. Skeslien Charles. That's there. Paris, 1939. I'm in. Young, ambitious, and tempestuous, Odile Souchet has it all. handsome police officer Beau, a new best friend, a twin brother whom she adores, and a dream job at the American Library in Paris, working alongside the library's legendary directress, Dorothy Reader. When World War II breaks out, Odile stands to lose everything she holds dear. After the Nazi army marches into the City of Light and declares a war on words, Odile and her fellow librarians join the resistance with the best weapons they have, books. Again and again they risk their lives to help their Jewish readers, but by the war's end, Odile tastes the bitter sting of unspeakable betrayal. What is Dorothy gonna do? I'm calling it. It's Dorothy. Dorothy's gonna betray her. We'll see if I'm wrong, but I'm calling it. Oh, there's a picture in here. What was it? There's a picture of the American Library in Paris. Very cool. Wow. That's so cool. And then it switches to Montana, 1983. Odile's solitary existence in gossipy small-town Montana is unexpectedly interrupted by her neighbor, Lily, a lonely teenager craving adventure. Odile helps her navigate the troubled waters of adolescence by always recommending the right book at the right time, never suspecting that Lily will be the one to help her reckon with her own terrible secret. Based on the true story of the American Library in Paris, The Paris Library is a mesmerizing and unforgettable novel about the power of books and the bonds of friendship and the courage it takes to forgive. I'm calling it right now. It's Dorothy. Dorothy is the traitor. The next book is Emma Donohue's Slammerkin. And I think this cover is just so pretty. And it had somebody's address sticker on there, so we will be taken. But it's crossed out. Look, it's blurred out. Blacked out. My words! I tell you, you girl! Oh my lord. Today is a day. That's me, that's not the blurb. I'm just saying today is a day that I'm all like loopy. Is it oh, I didn't even realize it has an insert cover. Look at that. That looks like a nightgown. That looks like a very old nightgown. Inspired by fragments of a story from the newspapers of the day, Slammerkin tells the story of Mary Saunders, an 18th century girl who falls, for love of a ribbon, into prostitution and ultimate disaster. As we follow her from whorehouse to the Magdalen Hospital for reformed prostitute to a quiet country town, Mary, ambitious, refusing to conform, bitterly resenting anyone with the finery that symbolizes a better life, is a memorable and unexpected touching character. Wow, that sounds like it's going to be very, very interesting. There's a map of London in the 1760s, so if you can see that. Very, very cool. So looking forward to that. Next we have a pretty popular one that I keep hearing about, but never read it yet. But this was actually on in the lobby of my building. There's a little table there, and sometimes people leave books there, and I've started leaving books there too. So it's like this cool little like apartment library thing we have going on, and this is Fall on Your Knees by Anne Marie MacDonald. Yeah, I've heard a lot about this book. I have not read it yet, so I had to grab it. So let's read the blurb. From one of Canada's foremost playwrights. Not a play, though, it's a novel. I didn't know she was a playwright. Comes a stunning novel of epic proportions and storytelling power, finely written rich and very moving, by turns dark and hilariously funny. Following the curse of history in the first half of the 20th century, Fall on Your Knees takes us from haunted Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia, through the battlefields of World War I to the emerging jazz scene of New York City and into the lives of four unforgettable sisters. The mythically charged family, James, a father of intelligence and immense ambition, Materia, his Lebanese child bride, Materia? And their daughters Kathleen, the eldest, a beautiful talent preparing for a career as an opera diva, Frances, incorrigible liar and hell-bent bad girl, Mercedes, obsessive Catholic and protector of the flock, and Lily, the adored invalid who takes us on a quest for truth and redemption, is supported by a richly textured cast of characters. Fall on Your Knees is a story of inescapable family bonds, of terrible secrets, of miracles, racial strife, attempted murder, birth and death, and forbidden love. So you know how much I love my epic family sagas, so really looking forward to that one. Next we have, from one of my favorite authors, Kate Morton, The Lake House. I read her The Forgotten Garden and absolutely loved it, though the ending was not my favorite, but I still loved it so much. The storytelling, just her writing style, just so good, that I definitely want to continue with the author. I have a few others of hers on my TBR that I showed up in like previous book hauls, but this one is The Lake House. On a summer evening in 1933, Eleanor and Anthony Edivane's country house in Cornwall stands ready for a grand summer party to begin. Before the night is over, this idyllic refuge will find itself the backdrop to tragedy and the birthplace of a terrible secret. Alice Edivane, 16 years old and a budding writer, is thrilled that her parents' glittering midsummer eve party is taking place just as she has fallen helplessly in love for the first time, albeit with someone of whom Eleanor would never approve. But her happiness is short-lived when it is discovered that her adored 11-month-old brother, Theo, has vanished from his crib and is nowhere to be found. After months of fruitless searching, the devastated Edivane family leaves their beloved lakeside estate for London. They will never return. She kills me with his family tragedies. 70 years later, Detective Constable Sadie Sparrow, what a name, Sadie Sparrow, is visiting Cornwall when she stumbles upon the once proud Edivane mansion, now an overgrown ruin. Her national curiosity is piqued when she learns the story of a baby boy who disappeared from the house without a trace, and she decides to seek answers from someone who was there all those years ago. Alice Edivane is now a formidable elderly woman living in London who has enjoyed a long and successful career as a novelist. Her days as neatly plotted as the best-selling detective stories that made her famous. But then Sadie Sparrow arrives at her door, asking questions about the past, resurrecting the complex tangle of secrets Alice has spent her life trying to escape. What Sadie uncovers with Alice's help is an astonishing tale of secrets kept and suspicions withheld, of passionate love and bitter regret, and an unseen sacrifice that profoundly altered a family's destiny. I am so looking forward to this book, Kate Morton's The Lake House. I love her books! Next we have Rebecca Ryman's Olivia and Jai. And she is a big girl. That's that one there. And there's an inscription in the front, which always sort of makes me smile. And it's, "To dear Laurie, for your 75th birthday, love, Phyllis." 75th birthday, that's so cool. The year is 1848. The locale, Calcutta. Into the heaving cauldron of a city comes Olivia O'Rourke, a 22-year-old American. She has been invited to India by her aunt, Lady Bridget Templewood, who would see her late sister's daughter married off to a suitable bachelor, thus preserving her against the radical notions of her Irish journalist father. But Olivia is her father's daughter. She is stifled by the restrictive society of wealthy English colonials and yearns for the challenges and freedoms of America, her homeland. Her life is invaded by a man, a mysterious figure who embodies all that troubles Olivia about Calcutta. Jai Raventhorn is the half-caste bastard son of an unknown Englishman and an Indian tribal girl, so he, like Olivia, is an alien in the prejudiced world of the British Raj. This dark, forbidding man soon becomes Olivia's obsession, her opium. Their romance is a rich, tormented blend of passion and frustration. Though she gives herself, her soul to him, she's never able to know his mind, his past, his secrets. Olivia is warned that Jai will destroy her, but she clings to her passion until inevitably her heart is shattered in his hands. The loss and betrayal transform Olivia from a devoted lover to an implacable enemy. Through twists, revelations, and tumultuous conflict, the story rushes to a powerful ending that will remind readers of the colorful and satisfying romances of India written by MMK. Rebecca Ryman is the pseudonym of a writer born, raised, and still living in India. Olivia and Jai is her first novel. Wow, she wrote a biggie for her first novel. So, we're very much looking forward to that. Old Love Good Girls is next by Gail Godwin. And there is a painting in here. Too Deep for Words by the author. The author did that illustration. When the dean of Lovegood Junior College for Girls decides to pair Farron Hood with Mary Jellicoe, good lord, the names, as roommates in 1958, she has no way of knowing the far-reaching consequences of the match. Farron, who has narrowly escaped from a dark past, instantly takes to Mary and her composed personality. Surrounded by the traditions and four-story Doric columns of Lovegood, the girls and their friendship begin to thrive. But underneath their fierce connection is a stronger, stranger bond, one comprised of secrets, rivalry, and influence, with neither of them able to predict that Mary is about to lose everything she grew up taking for granted, and that their time together will be cut short. 10 years later, Farron and Mary haven't spoken since college. Life has led them into vastly different worlds, but as Farron says, once someone is inside your reference aura, she stays there forever. And when each woman finds herself in need of the other's essence, that spark, that remarkable affinity, unbroken by time, between them is reignited, and their lives begin to shift as a result. Luminous and masterly crafted, Old Lovegood Girls is the story of a powerful friendship between two talented writers, two college friends who have formed a bond that takes them through decades of a fast-changing world, finding and losing and finding again the one relationship that defines them. So that's The Old Lovegood Girls by Gail Godwin. Next we have The Painted Girls by Kathy Mary Buchanan, and I have heard people talk about this book. And let's read the it's autographed by the author. I was trying to figure out what signature that was, but yeah. It's autographed by the author in 2013. Wow. Okay. Let's read the blurb. 1878. Following their father's sudden death, the Van Gotham sisters Gotham? Find their lives upended. Without his wages and with the small amount their laundress mother earns disappearing into the absinthe bottle, eviction from their lodging seems imminent. With few options for work, Mary is dispatched to the Paris Opera, where for a scant 17 francs a week, she will be trained to enter the famous ballet. Her older sister Antoinette finds work and the love of a dangerous young man as an extra in a stage adaptation of Émile Zola's naturalist masterpiece La Somme. I'm too hopped up on cold medication to pronounce that word. She finds a part in a play. Marie throws herself into dance and is soon modeling the studio of Edgar Degas. In the studio of Edgar Degas, where her image will forever be immortalized as little dancer aged 14. Antoinette, meanwhile, descends lower and lower in society and must make the choice between a life of honest labor and the more profitable avenues open to a young woman of the Parisian demi-monde. That is, unless her perilous love derails her completely. So that is The Painted Girls. Go. Next is Love and Glory by Jean Weston. There's that there. Back up. In the immensely popular tradition of officers' wives, here is a consistently compelling novel of 4 remarkable women, part of the original group of the WAAC officer candidates in 1942, and the bond of sisterhood they forged during their rigors of training of becoming women soldiers, a bond that would endure for the rest of their lives. They come from very different worlds and find very different men and different destinies. Paige Hanaday, army brat and general's daughter, discovers that she, not her brother, is the true career officer in the family and proceeds to defy her father and jeopardize the love of a fellow officer to prove that she indeed possesses the right stuff. Da 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 da. Comment below if you know what that is. Jill Hammersmith, the tiny, infinitely vulnerable perfectionist from a wealthy California family, grows to real stature. Wins the Bronze Star, and struggles to give up the ghost of a past guilt, and finds passionate love with her commanding officer, Desmond Stratton. Bunny Palermo, from the wrong side of the tracks, twice married to Mr. Wrong, and an absolute pushover for passion, must choose either to settle for security with her outfit's safe, stuffy colonel, or risk being swept away once more by sweet, sexy Sergeant Breckinridge Smith. Elizabeth Gardner, gorgeous former New York fashion model, a mysterious woman with a past, must choose between marriage to a Boston Brahmin hero and a pampered but backstreet existence as a mistress to a sensual, manipulative war profiteer, Max Stryker. The story of these women's lives as they fight for love and glory and the vindication of their right to serve their country played out against the progress of the war in London, Italy, Paris, and the Pacific is the story of mesmerizing fiction of which bestsellers are made. So, I love my historical sagas, female friendships, love that. And the last one is Isabel Allende's A Long Petal of the Sea. So, I would like to read, I keep hearing wonderful things about Isabel Allende. And I think I've read little bits and pieces of her here and there, but I don't remember reading a full sort of novel of hers. But I keep reading little snippets and very much, and sort of her plots really appeal to me. But I am sort of a bit warned by the fact that I think it's one of her books mentioned that it had like magical realism in it, and that really does not work for me. 100 Years of Solitude, I'm looking at you. So I'm hoping that when I do get to that one, I'm not sure if it was House of the Spirits or Daughter of Fortune, but one of the books mentioned magical realism. So I'm hoping that not all her books that have that, and maybe if she's writing it might work. I don't know. But let's read the blurb for this one. In the late 1930s, civil war grips Spain. When General Franco and his fascists succeed in overthrowing the government, hundreds of thousands are forced to flee in a treacherous journey over the mountains to the French border. Among them is Rosaire, a young pregnant young widow who finds her life intertwined with that of Victor Dalmau, an army doctor and the brother of her deceased love. In order to survive, the two must unite in a marriage neither one of them desires. Is it a marriage it means? And hopefully they do end up loving each other. Together with 2,000 other refugees, they embark on the SS Winnipeg, a ship chartered by the poet Pablo Neruda! My absolute favorite poet of all time. To Chile. The long petal of sea and wine and snow. As unlikely partners, they embrace their exile as the rest of Europe erupts in World War. Starting over on a new continent, Rosaire and Victor face trial after trial, but they will also find joy as they await the day when they might go home. Through it all, their hope of returning to Spain keeps them going. Destined to witness the battle between freedom and repression as it plays out across the world, Rosaire and Victor will find that home might have been closer than they thought all along. Oh, I hope they end up falling in love and being happy. So, very much looking forward to that. So, also, what we're doing is we are picking the winner of last month's book giveaway, which, come here, was last month I was giving away Robin Donald's His Majesty's Mistress, and I will announce the winner for that. The winner is Single Mom Review, and so I will, in this video, I will be putting my email address, and you just email me your mailing address. Please include your postal code, and if you could format it how I'm supposed to put it on the package, that would be great. Because a lot of times it's sort of just, it's kind of hard to figure out, especially if it's an international address, where like sort of everything is supposed to go, where like the city, town, country supposed to go, like all that. But yeah, so if you could format it how it's supposed to go on the envelope, that would be great. And definitely please include the postal code. And so yeah. So for this month, I am giving away a copy of The Space Between Us by Thridi Umrigar? And is there a blurb for you? I don't think there's a blurb for you, but let go. All it says in the back is there's a quote from, I'm assuming, the book. Soon the loneliness stops its wailing, and then the fear ceases its numbing drone, and all that is left is freedom, incessant, surging, and powerful. So, if you would like to be entered to win, all I ask is that you have not won in the last 3 months, and just give this video a like. that's it. Just give it a like and just comment that you would like to be entered. And yeah, and then I'll do the draw for this one in the February book haul. So, the winner for His Majesty's Mistress is Single Mom Review, Single Mom Review, Single Mom Romance Review, Single Mom Review. Sorry about that. And yeah, so just email me your mailing address and I will get the book out to you ASAP. And that is going to be it for this week's video. I'm sorry it was all over the place in terms of like my coherency, but your girl is a little loopy today. So I will be hopefully slightly more coherent in the next book haul video. But yeah, so follow me on Twitter at twitter.com/authorejamie. Like my Facebook page at facebook.com/authorejamie. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye!